Okay, so arms are basically three parts. Shoulder, and then you have what I would call the midsection, and then the forearm. So it's pretty important to know how exactly those relate to each other. So what I like to do is think of them as like basic shapes. So for the deltoid, it said for the deltoid, that's the wrong tool. Okay, for the deltoid, at least from the front view, it's more like a triangle kind of shape. Yeah, it's like a triangle kind of shape from the side at least. Sort of looks like the Patreon symbol. And then this shape right here, the midsection from the front, at least what I like to think of it as is sort of like I guess a triangular prism. Triangular prism. So the back would be rounded out. And then there's actually more of the outer side showing than the inner side. So I do it like that. And then that would be like the bicep area. So you actually see more of this side as opposed and less of this side. At least that's what I've noticed. And I think that's kind of cool. So let me take away those arrows. And then you have the forearm, which is an interesting shape. What I like to think of it as is it's kind of like a drumstick of a chicken, or you could view it as a boat, depending on how you're looking at it. But from the front, sort of looks like a drumstick, but it angles down like that. So you see how like the biggest bump is right there, and then the biggest bump on this side is like right there. It's that kind of angularity. Big words. It's that kind of angularity that makes the body just look so freaking cool. Okay, so for that section, the bump is over here. Highest bump is there. Again, I'm not actually drawing these shapes when I actually draw the forearm. I'm just thinking about these shapes in my head, right? And then you have the hand, which is a whole other beast. Just gonna do a little. Sure. So that's essentially what I'm thinking about when I'm drawing the arm. So at least from the front view. From like these are gonna look different from all different angles, but for the front view, this is what I'm thinking about. And that rhythm or that bounce back, the asymmetry that you saw for like the tilt, that actually goes all throughout the forearm and actually all throughout the body, which I think is kind of cool. So just so I can illustrate that. So the apex, you see how you have the shoulder here. Why am I still on the lasso tool? Brush. So you have the shoulder here, the apex is out there, and this needs to be bigger. How is that? it's sort of like that. And then you see an apex there. And then it goes that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And yeah, it's got a cool rhythm going on. So that is what I think about when I do that. Let me shout outs to the screeching car. Let me hide that. So when I actually draw now, where is it? Yes, there. Okay. So when I draw, oh, and another thing to point out, a lot of people, one of the reasons why I don't like using, there's this thing that goes around that a lot of people recommend, or that I see a lot of people recommend, where they do the mannequin, where they say, oh, it's, if you want to think about the arm, just draw circles and cylinders. And while I understand, I guess, the basic reasoning behind it, it tends to fall flat in terms of anatomy because one, the body is not just circles and cylinders, but two, I feel like it causes a lot of people, especially a lot of beginners, myself included, to make the shoulder too short. Because if you have this, right, you're thinking about the mannequin, and then you use that as a guideline to draw over it. So let's say, how can I reduce this opacity? Yes. So let's say you're using that as a guideline. You use like an eraser or something. Back when I used to draw in pencil, I did that. Now I just draw in pen because I'm a thug. But yeah, so you would use this as a guideline. So I'd be like, okay, gonna do that. Why is, I need more opacity. 100%, yes. So pretend this is like your final drawing or your second draft of a drawing. So you do something like that. I'm not even sure exactly how this would work. Drawing the mannequin like this is weird. Let's say you do something like that, right? Okay, so now let's take that away. You'll notice that this shoulder is too short and it's too small compared to the midsection of the arm. So let me use this as a cursor here. It's easier to use this as a cursor. So this shoulder is, it's too small compared to this. So like if you look at the shoulder here, this shoulder is actually bigger. It's longer than the length of the midsection. So because of, where is it? Because of this ball mannequin that is advised to a lot of beginners to use, because of that, because of this, it's making you draw the shoulders anatomically incorrect, which is again why I just don't like the mannequin in general. I mean, if it works for you, if you can somehow make it work, cool, but I feel like it sort of trips you up once you get past like the basics of drawing. It's good to, obviously it's good to use shapes just to think in 3D because that's what you're supposed to be doing. But if you're using these kinds of shapes, it's not gonna make you have accurate bodies. It's gonna look like a mannequin, and bodies don't look like mannequins. They look like bodies. So they're not just cylinders like this. They're like, how do I? All right, so they're not like that. They're like that. So this is also, these are also blocks, but they're not just cylinders. I mean, I guess you could view this as a cylinder, but you shave off the sides a little bit, and now it has that kind of form. And the same thing with, I don't even know what kind of cylinder that would be. That's more like a drumstick. But either way, it's not just a cylinder and a ball, because if that's what you use as a guide, it's not going to look like the body. So, yeah, hopefully this is making sense. And again, notice that gesture, this kind of river thing going through, how it goes from like, it's over I guess the outermost part is over here, and then it goes in, and then it goes out, and then it goes in, and then it goes out again. That's, again, what makes the body look so cool. Okay. So moving on, we have the next view. So we're going to do the back view. Oh, accidentally moved it. I was not supposed to move this. Okay. Right, so next up we're going to do the back view. So for the back view again. Oh, and a good thing to note. So many times what I see, and I myself included, I still try to have to like beat this mistake out of myself, is a lot of people, they would you would draw this arm and then you draw the forearm straight down. But if you notice, it's actually, you get my calligraphy pen? No, just give me a brush pen. Right. So many times a common mistake is to just draw, like pretend this is a bone, right? This needs to get smaller. Pretend this is a bone. Many people would draw it straight down. And then the wrist would be here. And then you draw the hand, which is actually another thing that is easy to do if you're going by this. If you're using this mannequin as a guideline, it's very easy to do, to just go straight down, because again, you're just drawing balls and circles, but the body is not just balls and circles. Like there are different axes. Axes, is that the word? Yes. Like the axis that things are tilted on, it's different for different things. So here, you'll notice that towards the outside of the body, the forearm pushes that way. It goes like over there. So let me clear this. Right, so it's like if the bones was here, it's like the forearm goes that way. And if you look at that, that's not straight. It's not straight on. It goes towards the left or towards the outer end. So that is another thing to keep track of. Okay, so moving on. Let me hide this mannequin. Moving on to the next one. Okay, so for this on the back view, actually, let me keep, no, that was the wrong one. All right, moving on to the back view. So again, we have this shape right here. I did not change my brush, but maybe it'll be easier to see this. So it sort of looks the same from the back. this deltoid or shoulder muscle. The same Patreon P. That's what I'm going to call it. And then for this, the tricep, you'll notice it actually goes, it originates. This is probably not the best color. It originates all the way up there. It's like all up in behind the shoulder or underneath it. So again, what I like to do, it's basically going to be this shape, but backwards. It's going to be the other end of that. So actually, let me change the brush. Yeah. So again, these are just the shapes that I'm thinking of as I'm drawing this. I'm not actually drawing these shapes. I'm just thinking about these shapes. Right, and then towards the front, it would be that like triangle thing, but we can't see it from here. But if you're looking at it from a top-down view, so like let's say this is a person. This is a person, and they're looking that away. The tricep that I'm looking at, like if I'm not viewing the shoulder, because I'm just doing this for the sake of the tricep, I would think of it as something like that. And then we show more of it. Then we have the bicep, and then it comes down. So this would be the top plane of that tricep. So the back here is the curve, which is what we're seeing right there. And then this right here is the bicep, which is exactly what we're seeing over there. Hopefully this is making sense. Okay. And then again, you see that break. Sort of like the bone is snapped. I guess if you were to think of the arm as one continuous bone from the shoulder all the way to the hand, it does not go down like that. It's like in the middle of the arm. How do I rotate this? Oh, no, not the canvas. Crap. How do I... There's got to be a way to rotate this. Can you tell that I'm not familiar with this program? Okay, but either way, you understand what I'm trying to convey. It's not like if this is a bone all the way down from the shoulder, and then the elbow, and then the wrist, it is not that. This is wrong. It's more like shoulder. It actually goes down, slides down a little bit more too, to the elbow, and then the wrist goes down like that. So there's a break. It's like someone just snapped at it just a little bit. It's subtle, but it makes a world of a difference. Okay, and then from here, for the forearm, what I like to think of, notice how this, again, starts higher on the outside, and then the apex, or the biggest point that comes out, is lower on the inside. There goes that cool asymmetry again. Okay, but for the forearm, what I like to think of it as is, it's more so just curved on this side. So it's like the front has these two. So if I was like looking at, let's say, I really need like a 3D software or something to convey this. So let's say this is going to be a hand like sticking out at you guys. That's not how that is. Hold on. Let me start from the bicep. Okay, so this would be the bicep. And then this would be the forearm. This will be like my wrist, or the wrist. Doesn't have to be mine. Let's say that's the shoulder. And then that's the chest. Right. And let's say these are the hands. It's like offering you a hand shake or a hand up. Right. But taking away the hand, because I'm trying to show you what the forearm is shaped like. So the forearm, again, I need to take this wrist away. That is not the eraser tool. There you go. All right, the forearm is basically, it's like two bumps on the top part, and then it's just a curve on the bottom. If anything, I'll put the wrist in here. All right, so if I were to put like a rubber band around this, let me change it to blue. It would be like that, and then it goes down there. And the same thing, it keeps doing that. And then eventually at the wrist, it turns into a block. But that's essentially the shape of it when you're looking at it from straight on. The top has two bumps, and then the bottom is like curved. So that's what that is. Take all this away. Okay. I have run out of, I've run out of undos. Wonder if that's ASMR for you guys. Okay. So for the forearm, I like to think of it as, so it's, again, it's tilted. And remember, we're seeing this side now, but this was the outer side over here. Now the outer side is on this side. Oh, which is the same thing, right? Because because this was my right arm and then this was my left arm. So it's going to be the same. But if this was the same arm, the outer would be obviously flipped. But yes, so curves over here. And the same way it has like an S curve here, it would have an S curve here. Okay. And then you have your wrist. And then somewhere in here would be the elbow. But I'm not really thinking about joints. I'm just thinking about the shapes, because the shapes sort of, they connect to each other and there's not really a ball in between them because it's more so just the shape combining. So that's what that is. And then, yeah, you could go ahead and do a quick hand here. Yeah. All right. And then moving on to the side view. So the side view, we're going to see a little more in depth of what this shoulder looks like. Because from the front view and the back view, the shoulder looks really similar. It looks really similar. But from the side view now, so it is still essentially a triangle. However, it's a little bit different. Because the shoulder's three muscles. There's one in the front, there's one on the side, and then there's one in the back. So you have one over here. Surely I could use a better one, but you see one here. That's one, and then you could just see a sliver of the other one. And then there's one in the back. So here, what I'm seeing one here. Can I get a better color? Maybe not yellow. Probably need a better brush too. So I'm seeing shoulder right here, shoulder right here, and just a sliver, tiny sliver of that shoulder back there. So for this one, it's funny because I'm actually not used to seeing shoulders that look like this, even though that's literally my own shoulder. So from this view, again, I like just thinking of basic shapes. So this is more like I guess this is more like a shield. Yeah, it's more like a shield shape. That was a little messy. Yes. Like a bent shield. Again, asymmetry is your friend. Curvature is your friend, and asymmetry is your friend. So this shoulder, this whole arm, in general, from any view, many beginners, myself included, go like this for the shoulder, and then this for the tricep, this for the bicep, this for the forearm, this for the forearm, and then you have your hand. And that's no. That looks like the Michelin Man. We don't do that. It's gotta have flow. So I usually know, so it'll be something like you want to keep in mind that the apexes are going to be different. Now, what's higher, what the highest or what sticks out the most is going to sort of like lean into the other side. And I was getting actually caught up with contours right there, but it's better if you just go for an S curve like that. And then you could do that. You could actually simplify it to that. And that would be the hand. Like this is, I don't actually draw like that, but this is what I'm thinking about when I do draw. And the forearm. And yeah, triceps and stuff. Okay. But back to life and reality. No, back to the structure. Let's see. Let's use a blue, sure. So for this section right here, the midsection, actually let me go back to red. Again, it's this shape. This shape I find to be the easy. Why does this look weird? There we go. Yes, this shape right here I find to be the easiest one to digest because I think it's the simplest. It's the simplest out of all of them. So It would be the same thing. And this is another reason. This is a good reason to just practice drawing shapes. Like, yes, I know I said the mannequin isn't good, but it is good to draw just cylinders and spheres and boxes in general, just to get your mind in the headspace of seeing things in 3D. Because that's essentially what happens when you're drawing. You're seeing things in 3D, unless you're drawing like scribbles and abstract art. But yeah, so I'm seeing the bicep plane actually a little bit over here, right there. So I'm gonna capture that. Okay, and then we have this right here. So you see here, you see what I was talking about? I need more opacity. For this forearm, can I just find it? Yes. So over here, that's just one curve. It's not two curves. Just like how I was saying when this forearm was like pointing at you. That was say that's the bicep. And that's the shoulder. And that's the chest. Right. See how I said that the underside was just a curve while there's two bumps on, it kind of looks like a mouth, on the upper side. So this is just one of the bumps. We change to red. Whoa. Whoa, what's going on? All right, so this right here is just one. That is like this bump right here. And then over here is this underside where it's just a curve. That wasn't exactly pointing at just a curve. So the way I would simplify that is actually let's just be consistent. So blue. So you have your curve, and you have what I'm seeing actually is I need to be able to switch to red on a dime. I need like maybe I should do this traditionally with one of those multicolored pencils. Yeah, what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that first curve, and I'm seeing another curve right here, the other curve. And then over here is just the bottom curve. So give me a second. Pencil, yes, okay. And then blue. All right, so that represents one curve, and then the inner curve actually comes down. So just like how I said, there's that axis right there. So this is just from the side, axis over there, right? And then the wrist, why am I being a perfectionist right now? The wrist is a box, like so, and then you have your hand. So this is essentially, let me go back to this, right? So these are essentially the things that I think about when I'm drawing the arm. And of course, things are going to be different when they're flexed. Like when you bring up this forearm right here, this bicep gets flexed and actually gets smaller. And this tricep, it extends and it stretches. But if I were to put my hand all the way down, then the opposite happens. This tricep flexes and the bicep would actually stretch even more. So let's see what we could do now. Is this the layer that we were working on? No, it was not. I believe it was this one. Okay. So we can actually just, how do I hide it? Okay, cool. So we can practice drawing some arms now, seeing it in action. Actually, I didn't have any of these poses, so guess I'm just gonna draw them. So the flexed arm. All right. Are we good? Yes, we are. All right, so the flexed arm, just to show you what I'm going to be doing, let me draw it over here. Just so you have an idea of where it is I'm going. That's what I'm going to be doing. Let's do this. Okay. So this isn't a head tutorial, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Sure, let's make it look a little 3/4. I guess sort of. Don't want to get too carried away with the head because this is not a head tutorial. Okay. The shoulder. I gotta attach this arm to something. Okay. You know, I can actually demonstrate 2 arms with this. 2 for the price of 1. Okay. So I can gesture it out actually. Right. I'll just say the epicondyles. Okay. So you have your shoulder here. So again, this is that Patreon P again. It's right there. But it's stretching. So this would be the middle one. You know how, so pretend this is the shoulder right here. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3 of these muscles. If this is from that view. And then the arm, yes. I'm not really going to go into depth with that. Okay. So there are 3 of these. This right here is this. And so we're going to see this middle deltoid, or this middle shoulder muscle, and then this middle shoulder muscle right here. That's what I'm seeing. So let me go ahead and erase that. Oh, and also this shoulder, this middle one, it comes out more than this front one. Right, so this is the middle one, and we are going to draw the front one. Boom, there goes your shoulder. Woo. Okay, well, getting a little crazy now. All right. Now, when the arm is stretched like this, or when it's flexed like this, rather, let's let's do that. Obviously, the bicep is gonna flex. So before, aha, see, this is what I was talking about. So over here, the arm is just at rest. It's just stretched out like that. But when it's flexed, this bicep becomes smaller and bunched up like so. And the bicep comes from underneath the shoulder. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay. And then we have our tricep. So the tricep is interesting. You could really and truly just draw a curve. It's actually two curves. I said two, okay. Because there's a tricep there, and then there's another one there. And then you have the forearm. So the forearm, the way it twists, we're going to be seeing the curve of the bottom of the boat. Again, remember. So this is the forearm. We're seeing this side. And we're also going to see a little bit of both of these bumps right here. So let's just say this is a wrist. You see one there. And yes, like so. So this is the higher bump, and then this right here, that is quite an arrow. This right here would be the lower bump. And this tricep, I don't know why, but I'm not feeling it. Let's try that again. Better. Oh, and there's also a muscle that goes from this bicep to like the funny bone. Yes, so you can draw that. And then for the tricep, you'll see two of the tricep muscles. So you can do that there. And okay, that arm actually looks pretty good. Okay, and then we could go ahead and, again, this isn't a hand tutorial, but I'll just draw a suggestion, an indication of it. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's a flexed forearm from the inside, right? Because I didn't go over the inside. And then we have from the outside. So, a thing that I like to do when drawing the arms that I actually only recently started doing is imagining where the axis, or how the axis of this bone is. So usually, I actually should have drawn it there. So usually the axis of this bone is like, get red, goes like that. Whoops. Goes like that. Yes. Like, so this is, all right, so this would be like the shoulder, you have your triceps, and you have your forearms. Right. So usually it goes like that, which is, I could have illustrated that better. Hold on. And that's usually the reason why the highest bump is on the outside and this is on the inside. And funny enough, it's not just this is higher, this is also more forward. So pretend Okay, I've never done this before, so let's see how this is gonna work. I'm thinking, give me a second. All right. So I'm gonna put this arm in a cube. I promise this, there's a meaning behind this. Okay. All right, and now I gotta connect this to make a circle. All right, I have to ghost the other cube now. Is that okay? Sure. All right, so hopefully you can see that this side is in the front and then that side is in the back. So let's say we had an arm. Let's say this is the shoulder bone. I actually want to make two of them. I feel like that's going to be a lot to know or to do right now because I'm still figuring out this program. Okay, so usually, again, a common misconception is, or a common mistake is where how people would align these, they would put it straight together. So like they would say, pretend this is the outside and this is the inner side. And then, so it'd be like that. And then you have your arm bones. Nope. Actually, this is supposed to be bigger and then get smaller. And then like this is your shoulder. Right. So they would make them straight. Like you can't see it straight here, but I put this in perspective just so you could see both sides at the same time. So they would usually have it like that. However, as you already know, this side is higher than this side. The outside is higher than the inside. So let me just draw a hand here just to make it easier to understand. Right. Yes. However, this side right here, the outside is not only higher, but it's also more forward. So it wouldn't only just be higher on this Y, but it also be more forward there. And then this obviously would be more back and lower. So it'd be something like that. And then you have, yes, go like so. Oh, this is dying. I do not need this to die on me. Okay. Right, so oh, this would be a right arm now. Yes. Yes, this would be a right arm. Whoa, what is this lag? What is this lag? Is it because I'm charging? Okay. But yes, you get the point. hopefully. The outside, these are called epicondyles. Like your funny bone or these edges of your arm bone, humerus. That the higher, the outside, this side right here is higher and more forward than the inside. So there's that. So whenever you're seeing an arm at rest, oh look, I made the mistake. I made it straight down. Whenever you're seeing an arm at rest, there you go, there you go. Okay. It's not just that this is higher, but this is also more forward. So yes, okay. So again, I guess getting back to this, thing that I like to do is see how this epicondyle is acting. So, because this is in perspective, I see it going higher like this. So like pretend this would be right there. Yes, like that. Okay, so we have our shoulder bone. Let me just draw a gesture so that it can make some sort of sense. Dang, that was a really good gesture. Okay, look at me. Right. So we have our shoulder. Our shoulder comes in like halfway. So we're seeing this middle part, and we're going to see the front part as well. Oh, we're probably going to see some of this back part. Okay. So that's one side, and that's the other side. Dang, that shoulder looks good. Okay. 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 All right, and then we have our tricep, which is being stretched because it's bent. Same way it's being stretched here. I mean, it doesn't really look stretched because it's so thick, but this is being stretched. If it wasn't, if this arm was extended over there, this would come up a whole lot more. Oh, yes. Okay. And then we have the boat muscles, or the forearm muscle. The boat, the chicken, whatever you want to call it. We're going to see one part of that bump. And then it goes straight because of the wrist. And then we're going to see the underside of the boat, which is just a curve. And then you actually see a little bit of the other bump on the other side. Oh, crap. Where did this come from? All right. And then you have the bicep. So again, I'm thinking of this whole thing wrapping around like so, and it's a little more slanted. So if I were to simplify this, let's see, be something like that. Yeah, the Patreon thing, and then come down like that. I'll be seeing that. And then let me move this. Or can I move this? Yes. Okay. So I'll move this over there. All right. And then you have the boat muscle, which you can see that part of the ridge, and then it just curves underneath. And then you have the wrist. But yeah, so that's how I'm seeing it in my head. So now back to this. I'm seeing some of this bicep, so the bicep does come down like so. And again, it's flexing, so I'm not gonna connect it all the way down because it's flexing a little bit. Yeah, and if you know anatomy or you know some, you can go ahead and add some tricep. And some of those extensors. All right, and then again, this isn't a hand tutorial. I'm still learning hands myself, but maybe the little bit that I do know, or the amount that I do know, you can go ahead and learn something from it. A lot of the times we feel like we're not ready to teach people stuff because we're overly critical on ourselves, but turns out people can learn a lot from you. So yeah, and there you have 2 arms. Should I do another one? Should I do another one? Why am I drawing chest? Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. So that's a flexing one. And that is, I mean, they're both flexing technically. But you know what? Just because, I'm not going to leave it there. Let's draw the basic one. How do I... Tell me I can't just delete this? Fine. Close enough. All right. So again, so this is going to be from the front. How I would go about it. If you just wanted to know. Again, it's actually, the shoulder is sort of flat. Well, it's actually like slanted from the front. Like, because of that mannequin, people just label it, they draw it as a ball, and they'll just do that. And then, of course, the arm will come all the way down here because of the mannequin. But again, I'm thinking of these shapes right here when I'm doing this. So again, I'm seeing most of the outer tricep plane. And I'm viewing it from the front. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And again, want to go straight forward. It's funny because I feel like if I wasn't making this video, I probably would have the tendency to do that. But because I'm teaching it, or attempting to, I'm not. And this is like the bump of the boat. And then there you go. You can, if you want, you can be fancy and put a line through there. All right. You can add that line. I don't think the line goes all the way up there, but again, this is all just preference. This is all, whoa, right, this eraser needs to come down. This is all preference. And this is how I'm viewing it. So I see it like that. And I see it coming down like that. I could draw the inner side of that tricep on the other side. And for this boat, I'm seeing like how I'm viewing it in my head. I'm seeing it like that. A good exercise is to like wrap lines around it. I mean, over here, maybe it's better to add dotted lines. And then for here, since there's a little separation, I'd be like that. That's essentially what I'm thinking about. And that's really all drawing is. Like, there's no such thing as, well, the next time you think or say to yourself, like, I'm bad at drawing this or I'm bad at drawing that, it's not that you're bad at drawing it, or I guess you being bad at drawing it isn't the root cause. It's not really what's going on there. Like, that's a symptom. The real thing, or the real cause of it, is you don't understand it. So whenever you think I'm not good at X, just replace that with I don't fully understand X. And then I guess there's a little less pressure because it's not a personal thing for you, because you can study it and then you do understand it. I didn't always understand arms like this. I used to be bad, quote unquote bad, at drawing that. But now I'm not so bad because I understand it more. But yeah, and a lot of this understanding lately has been coming from me just, believe it or not, looking at myself in the mirror. That's like my biggest, I want to say that the most practical recommendation I could have if you want to get better at drawing the body. I mean, obviously you have to observe your subject, but in this case, the subject is a human body, and if you're listening to this and understanding this, you are a human, which means you have a human body. And if you have a human body and you got a mirror, you can understand, well, you can observe. Like, whenever I would be in the mirror, when I'm brushing my teeth nowadays, I don't brush my teeth with a shirt on now. I am constantly in the mirror brushing my teeth, just observing and looking at how things move. And yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. Like, a lot of this understanding, or a lot of these things that I'm telling you in this video, they were all like mini eureka moments of me just seeing, oh, that's how that goes, and that's how that goes, and really just trying to see how things look and why they look that way. Oh yeah. Okay, so I know over here, this one comes out like so, and that goes out like so. All right, and then so that's the bump. So if I were drawing marching ant lines, there would be the other bump there. then this pinky bone connects to that big elbow bone. Okay, maybe that was the car's sign of telling me I should go ahead and stop this. Yeah, because I actually need to go to bed. It is currently past midnight. All right. So I first intended on this being like maybe 5 to 10 minutes long, and here I am an hour later. An hour later because I guess I really wanted to be thorough with this. But yeah, the arms are pretty complex. I wouldn't say that complex. You just gotta understand it. You just gotta know it. You gotta study it. But they're too complex for me to cover in one video. So this is as much as I would do now. Maybe I'll do more in the future. Depends. Like maybe different views, maybe some more foreshortening. Looks like I'm doing a little bit of foreshortening right now. But yeah, that's arms. Hopefully you understand it a little more. Oh, and these rules apply to not just super muscular people, but also you could do this on skinny arms, you can do this on bigger arms, you can do this on female arms, doesn't matter. So like even a slender female arm right here. Oh, see, so much of drawing, when you see people just appearing to make magic on the page, so much of what's happening is just inside their head. You're just not seeing it. You're just seeing the magic of them drawing the line on the paper. But like that was me saying shoulder, and that was me saying the midsection, and then the bump of the boat and all that. But yeah, I was demonstrating how it would be for a slender arm. So even though it's not as muscular as the others, you're still gonna see the same sort of pattern. That's hilarious because I meant to make this a view from the front, but I overlapped this the wrong way. The hand part, accidentally put the back plane on, or the back pad of the pinky. And now this is a back view. But yeah, it's still all the same. It is still all the same. Okay, so hopefully that made things easier for you to understand. Let me know how it works out. Let me know if this helps. It's my very first tutorial video, so I was actually overthinking this a lot. But yeah, this is me just shutting up and doing it. All right. Thanks. I will see you guys. I'll see you when I see you. How do I end this thing? How do I end this thing?